Howdy folks. Well, it almost made it. So this is a rescued Cub Cadet 3205 mower I've had a couple years at least, maybe 3. And I've been using this non-stop every summer. It's I think all year last year and then until now this year, and it's finally said no more. So a little backstory. This mower is a Craigslist special that I picked up and kind of rejuvenated, so to speak, and it's done pretty well. It was a top-end mower back in the day. I think this is a 98, and it was a very expensive mower back then. It's got a Kawasaki V-twin water-cooled engines, got a power deck lift, got cruise control, power steering. But the thing is now, after all these years, it's just totally worn out. Everything on this thing has worn to the point it's sloppy and loose and everything like that. So I didn't really expect it to last a lot longer, but I didn't expect the engine to be what went first. This is a sweet engine in this thing, but it did. When I got it, it didn't run right, so I rebuilt the carburetor and then I put coolant hoses on it, and I had to reseal this rear end on here. These rear end units, these hydros, are known on these series of mowers, are known to leak out the ends of the axle shafts, and so I did that, and it stayed dry for a while, and then it started leaking again. It's just been really horrible now. It's worse than it ever was. So that's that. And you know, it's got problems with the deck. It's got frozen up. This one turns, but this other rower over here is mostly frozen. Most of the time it drags. One of them drags. I don't know which it is, but this thing's sitting on now, but those things rattle all the time. It's pretty loose. And then when you turn the steering, it's got a lot of slop in it because this mounting for this cylinder back here behind it in the frame is worn out, and so it's you get a lot of wheel slop. And I've already repaired that once. I had to put a new, I guess, a pitman arm on it. This guy here was worn out, and then I had to tighten the engine up. The engine was coming loose. What else? Had to put a set of PTO belts on it. That's those up front there. Put a set of those on it originally, and I used the cheap ones. And obviously I haven't learned my lesson on cheap mower belts, and they wore out. One of them flipped and came off, so I had to replace them again with the correct, the OEM belts, and they've lasted fine. It's a chore to do that because this whole entire front of the mower has to come off. The muffler has to come off, everything has to come off to access that PTO, and then the PTO itself, actually, I don't think I can get this open by myself. Yep, there we go. PTO itself is, you can't really see it. I have to take the panel off, but it's got one of these, maybe we can. Yeah. Anyway, it's in there, but it's a vacuum PTO, which I've never seen on anything else. I think maybe some John Deere's may have used it, and these used it for a few years. But the part is, well, the way it works is it's got a vacuum pod mounted in a bracket, and then when you have it running and you flip the lever up, pull it up, it applies vacuum to it, and it pulls it in, like a cruise control unit, and it pulls on a thing that pulls it's got the pulley in there, acts against the belt, and that's what runs it, and it works good. But the problem with that is that thing, it's on borrowed time because you can't get those anymore. I had to buy a used one, which was in good shape, but I feel like I was fortunate to even find that one. And there are no more replacements. You can find a number for a kit that supposedly replaces them, but there are no more of those kits either. The whole thing is it's a dead end. So when that quits, it's over anyway. So, and I had to put a battery in it. This thing uses a car battery. It uses a battery that goes in a Honda. Let's get into this. It's a heavy duty mower. I can't really see it there, but it's a 12 volt car battery. But this engine, this is a Kawasaki, I think it's F620D 2-cylinder. And this thing has never given a moment's trouble. It's not using any oil. It's not done anything until now. And I was mowing with it a couple weeks ago, and I had my headphones on, keep the noise down. And I'd gotten done with almost all the yard up there, everything. And I was going back and finishing up around the tree up there. And I noticed I started to feel something vibrating in the steering wheel, which doesn't normally do that. This is a pretty smooth mower. And I took my headphones on, and sure enough, this thing was making a noise up here. And I have an idea of what happened to it. I think that it has spun or just plain worn out one of the bearings in the crankshaft, or the bearing that goes up to this PTO drive up here. But it's internal to the engine. It does have the shaft drive there, and the first instinct would be, oh well, something's happened there, but something has not happened there. That thing is as tight as it can be. The only thing I have found is that the crankshaft seems to have a lot of thrust movement fore and aft, so I don't know if that's part of it. I mean, it could be a connecting rod bearing, it could be a piston pin, it could be a piston. But the funny thing about it is that it doesn't do it when you first start it. It has to run about 30 seconds, and then it just starts making noise and louder. And so that's it. I'm not going to fix that. I don't know what it could be, and I'm not interested in fixing it. So let me go, before I go further, I'll demonstrate it for you. Okay, I got the key with me. I don't know how easy it'll be to hear, but I think you will. Now you don't really hear anything. That's pretty normal. Well, that's it. That's game over for that thing. As I said, I don't know what that is. So, and I'm not going to worry about it, because I'm going to get rid of this thing one way or another. I'm trying to sell the thing whole, and had no offers on it yet. Not even asking that much for it, because it's one of the hardest things to sell is a broken lawnmower. Something that's severely broken like this is going to require some sort of major operation to repair it, I guess. So anyway, I don't know. It spun a bearing in there, did something. But anyway, that's it. It's over. May end up selling the deck off of it separately, just to get some money out of it. I mean, I've gotten a couple of years of use out, but Anyway, so what do you do when your lawnmower craps out before the end of the mowing season and you have to do something to replace it? Well, can't push mow all this, so I had to have another mower, so I did the sensible thing and bought another mower with problems. So anyway, before we get into this, this is not this is not a video to say how great this mower is or anything like this. This is just strictly a plain old consumer grade disposable lawnmower. But I think it's going to work out pretty good. Is either just a spare mower or just run this one till it quits. That seems to be what I do here. I had been looking around on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for about the past 2 weeks, ever since this deal went south on that mower, and tried to find something that was going to be fairly simple to work on and you know, somewhat capable. For my first thing I was going to do was just going to buy like another snapper, but snappers are getting few and far between, and so I didn't find anything that was going to work. Everything was old and needed a ton of work. And you know, there's a couple newer ones which, you know, when I see a lawnmower ad and somebody says it's just all it needs is a switch, or all it needs is like a pulley or something like that, you know, I'm always skeptical about that, because I'm thinking, why didn't you fix it? You know, you're going to sell the mower and you're not going to fix that. So anyway, so I just never did see anything. I saved several of them. I never did see anything that really did anything for me. It didn't feel right, you know. I go on my instincts. And so I went ahead and rented the trailer yesterday for today. I thought, well, you know, the trailer's not much. If I don't find a mower, I'll just go get some firewood with it or something. I don't care. So anyway, so I thought, well, last night I thought I'll hop back on. No, it was this morning, actually, early this morning. I hopped back on Facebook Marketplace. I had actually messaged a guy last night about a John Deere, a small one, older model, and you know, it's one of those things where he just, I say is, you know, he lives right here in Ardmore. I said, would you like to, you know, can I come run over and see that mower in the morning? He said, sure. You know, he says, about what time? And I told him, I said, I got to rent the trailer about 9 o'clock and I'll be free. And he didn't reply to it at all, not the whole evening, and not until 10:30 this morning. By 10:30 this morning, I already had this thing purchased. And I drove by his house, not trying to stalk him, but that's the way back in from where I was going. I drove by his house, and there's the mower in the garage, and there he is walking around in his garage, you know. I'm thinking, dude, why didn't you message me last night and say, okay, I don't know what time exactly, but how about getting a hold of me in the morning? If he had done that, I would not even have went and looked at this mower. He didn't do that. That's how people end up not selling something. So anyway, so I hopped back on here and got back from getting the trailer picked up. So I hopped back on Marketplace and looked around. This thing popped up as part of the daily recommendations. And I thought, yep, that's it. So here's what we got, cut to the chase. This is a fairly unusual machine, and this is why that I wanted this one, or decided on it. This is a Craftsman LT2000. It's got a 21 horsepower single cylinder Briggs Intech, I think they call it. It's got a bunch of stuff on there, but it's an Intech. And it's got that. It is, he thought, the guy that had it, he didn't know anything about stuff like this. He just ran it till it tore up. And he thought it was a hydro. It's not a hydro, but it kind of mimics one. This is our good old friend, the variator. But the way this one's set up is you just have a gear shift over here for, you know, whichever way you want to go. And then you operate it with a pedal. So it variates it that way. You don't have to do any of this stuff. You know, you see this thing, this is not the speed control. My old one, the field mower, had over here. This is for the blades and the height and everything. So this thing strictly runs off a pedal. So that's nice. It you know, acts like one. But it is a Varadrive. I can confirm that. I can look in here and see all the belts and the pulleys. And so the problem this machine has is it's got a couple main problems. It does operate, but he thought the belt was wrong on it. But what happened was, I'm almost 100% sure something is seized up in there with the variator. Either one of the idlers is seized up, or the variator itself is seized up, like the bearings have run dry and it's seized. Something, I guarantee something's seized in there. So we'll have to undo all this and get in there to it, which I'm going to do here in a little bit, and find out what's seized up, because he put the belt on and he said, well, it's only got one speed now, and I smell a belt smoking. I thought, yep, I know all about that. I've had I've had everything that could go wrong with one of these Drives or variable speed or variable automatic, whatever they want to call them, the same damn thing. I've had everything can go wrong, one of them go wrong. So I know them like the back of my hand, so that's what it is. And so it's going to have that to get it to actually function well. It's got a flat tire. And then the other thing is too is running the deck. The deck operates good, but the spindles are very noisy in it, so it's going to need at least one spindle. But otherwise, it seems to be a good mower. I know there's some question about these later Briggs engines, but this one didn't smoke. So I'm not saying it can't cause problems. Everything here can, but it does have an oil filter, which is good. And the steering is a little bit loosey-goosey. Our old friend, that gear that's all kind of out in there, so it's going to need a steering shaft at some point. What else? It's got a cast iron front axle. It has zerks that looks like they've not been ever used. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead. Oh yeah, there's a good battery on it. He just bought the battery a while back. Sounds like it's got water in the seat. So anyway, I got to get this thing over, and it's got to have a date with the pressure washer. I may do that in the morning, but first thing is I need to just get in there and see what kind of parts I need to order. See what's going on with it. And go from there. So anyway, this should last me hopefully the rest of the year and maybe onward. So you got the keychain thing that came with it. Had the paperwork with it, so that was good. Kids and mowers don't mix. Well, let's not be too hasty about that, because sometimes kids and mowers can mix, especially if you can get them to run the mower, like mow your yard for you. So anyway, I'll do a little video on this thing. When I get this thing torn apart, we'll see what actually happened to it. Hopefully it's not nothing major. So one other thing too, it's getting on towards the end of the summer, and so that means firewood time. So I've been running this truck wide open all day today, but we got a good load of firewood in here. I'm gonna have to get a couple more, but yeah, that's a rick's worth. And I thought well, I like this trailer, man. This thing is usable. Drove the mower right up on it, loaded firewood in it. If they weren't so expensive, I'd just buy one similar to it myself. But that's about the best way to use one of those things, because that's the one thing that I've disliked about that Tahoe, is that the cargo, it doesn't have enough cargo room in it. But you know, it's 6 and 1/2 dozen the other, because you got room to lock stuff up in there, and this is open. So you would have to, if you're worried about securing things, you would have to get a closed-in trailer like this, I guess. But anyway, the construction project is still going over here, wide open. All right, guys, I'm gonna just cut this off now and go ahead and post this. So I don't want to do too long of a video, but I want to tinker with this thing this afternoon, and would be good. You know, Tractor Supply carries a lot of parts for stuff like this. That'd be nice if I had all the parts for this. I could just run down there tomorrow and pick it up, and possibly get this thing back up and running. Oh, I never did run it for you. Okay, thought about that. Quickly. Let's see here. I don't know if it's gonna need choke or not. Oh, whoops. Runs. All right. Okay, guys. Well, just been a lot of stuff going on here. I've been filming off and on with things that have just been busy. We will be getting a video together on that dart there pretty soon. I'm about to swap that one out for the gold one. I want to get the gold one in position there and finish it up and get it running. I never did do that. It's been undercover, so we'll get into that. in the meantime, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.